Welcome to The Glass Box, a podcast for revolutionaries to share their voices and causes. Here we cover a range of topics and explore the limitations that hold us back, from personal challenges to societal issues, all with the intention to create an impact that ripples out and changes the world. In this episode, I sat down with Courtney Taylor to talk about numerology, the importance of self-awareness, and how to hold the biggest vision while staying present in the moment. Without further ado, let's dive in. So, Courtney Taylor, best known as the modern-day psychic, blends her diverse background in social work, psychic mediumship, and numerology to empower women on their spiritual journey. With a deep understanding of the human psyche and a profound connection to the spiritual realm, Courtney's unique approach bridges the gap between traditional therapy and intuitive guidance. As a world-renowned celebrity psychic, Courtney's intuitive insights have touched the lives of countless individuals around the globe. Her ability to connect with the spirit realm and channel messages from beyond has earned her a reputation as one of the most sought-after psychics in the industry. From Hollywood stars to everyday seekers, Courtney's guidance has provided clarity, validation, and healing to clients from all walks of life. Like, damn, girl, you're doing the thing. I love it.
Thank you. It's so weird when you hear someone like read it back to you. I'm like, oh yeah, that is me. I did do that. It's always so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So I'm curious, like just right off the bat, how did you get to this point where you are?
Yeah. So when I was about 16, 17 years old, I had this dream that I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to work on the red carpets. I wanted to, at the time, I thought that was the dream, the dream that everyone thinks. It's like, at the time I was like, oh, I could live this really glamorous life and fame and hang out with celebrities. And I was not aligned at all at that point in my life. And I manifested it. I made it happen. I hired my first coach at 17 years old. I put out $15,000 and left my small town here in Canada and went to LA by myself and started this journey that I had no idea would lead me to where I am today. I started off as a publicist. I worked with oh my God, so many cool people, so many cool celebrities. But what I realized is that I was miserable. I wasn't happy. And this dream that I thought was the dream was actually so aligned and purposeful in showing me what was actually next. I learned that people were not super authentic. I was triggered by that. I realized that, it was just not my line of work. And so my mom had found this spiritual church back home. And she was like, you need to come home. Like, this is going to change your life. And I was like, yeah, right. I was kind of at the point where like, this was like 2012 time frame. So it was quite a long time ago now. And I was in a place where spirituality was kind of just like, yeah, woo woo, whatever. And I went and I flew home. At that point, I was having a mental breakdown. I was not feeling good. I was going through a depression. I was shortly after that diagnosed with bipolar. And this church, I walked into this event my mom invited me to, and I started crying. I had no idea why. I just burst out into tears. And I sat down and there was another medium there that's really well known in my hometown. And he points me out of the crowd. He comes up to me and says, you're so crazy for not using your gifts. And that was literally the moment that every single thing changed for me. I had chills. I knew why I was crying. I left my Hollywood career when everyone was like, you're set for life though. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not happy. And as you know, it's so important to be happy and rooted in what you do. And it opened up doors for me. I started really studying my psychic abilities and the gifts that I've had my whole entire life, but I had no idea that this really was my purpose. And over the years, over the last decade, it's just expanded. The people that I worked with in Hollywood became my clients in a different capacity. It was really cool to see things convert and move over into space that was very aligned. And over the years, I have just studied more and more modalities. Now I focus on numerology. It's always really landed. I've always connected to numbers. And so it's been a really beautiful, crazy process in getting here, but I could not be happier.
God, I had chills listening to this. Like, I mean, your story, I found you end of last year, I think. And you have this aura that like calls people in. And when I first found you, I thought it was like originally because, I was having this awakening and like realizing, oh, like I have these gifts. So let me kind of dive into that a bit more. And then when you came out with your numerology report, like, holy fucking shit, Courtney. Like, blew my mind, changed my life. Anyone listening, if they have not already gotten it, like, I'm linking your all the stuff in the like notes because they need to get it. Like, how did you come across that?
Yeah, that's a really fun story. So last year in 2023, for whenever people are listening to this, last year in 2023, I was in January. We had just gotten by Christmas and the holidays, and I was so sick with pneumonia. I was in bed. I couldn't go on my trip with my partner. My family was leaving, and I like couldn't get on the flight to go for my trip. And I was so sad, but I was like, okay, there must be a bigger purpose. I was at this point in my life where I was sick, but I was also feeling really low. I just didn't know what to do anymore. I felt really lost in my own direction. I felt really confused with what was next. It was like everything I had done before wasn't working anymore. Nothing felt good. And at the time, right now, my magazine is on hiatus, but Next Level Magazine, I created this in 2022. It's been my baby. And we had brought on our cover girl was Caitlin Cahart, who is also a numerologist. And she said to me, I think you need to study your numerology. It's going to change your life. And so I said, okay, like I love numbers. I've always used numbers in terms of like angel numbers and within psychic development, of course. But I had been so curious about what it meant for me in my transits and my cycles. So I started studying. I used that time when my family was away and traveling. I was in bed and I studied, and I learned that I was actually in my year one, the first month of my brand new cycle, and nothing was supposed to make sense. I was exactly where I was supposed to be, but I didn't understand that at first. And oh my God, when I learned this information, it was like mind blown. Everything started adding up. So I studied and I went deeper into my numbers and I started using it with my one-to-one clients and I started creating these offers and it just scaled from there. And now it's been crazy how numerology has affected me. It's impacted my clients. I've been able to take it into corporate presentations to teach about team building. Like there's so many cool things that have manifested from this. And it was all a part of the bigger plan. It was all a part of the plan. And I think that is such a beautiful reminder for so many people who are listening too, is that when we're a little bit lost, there's purpose in that. When we're confused and we don't know where to go next, we do know it might take a minute to figure it out, but we always do figure it out. And so it was a beautiful process in seriously a rebirth. The year one is about initiation. It's about rebirth. And I was literally going through that. And once I was able to connect the dots, it was like everything made sense.
Hmm. I think that's what it was for me too. Like when I found, because I've got the report that you made for me on my desktop. So whenever like I'm feeling stuck, I pull that up and look at like, okay, what month am I in? And it's like, it always blows my mind. Like part of me is, I know that it's going to hit, but then I read it again and I'm like, how is this so fucking accurate? Like,
It's crazy.
such an amazing tool for like helping you break through these cycles. It's crazy.
Mm.
I love it.
Yeah,
all right, so
I'm obsessed. I'm so glad that you are loving it too.
yes, I mean obviously like I'm gonna dive deeper into it. So it's like we've already got that set up, but I know like
Excited.
you're using this with like corporate stuff and like you have so many big things coming to you. Is that all tied to numerology or like tell me whatever you can?
Yeah. So a lot of it is tied to the numerology. A big part of what I will always do is kind of like you said, how you thought you found me or why you thought you found me, I should say, was for more of the psychic development or better like deepening your gifts, better understanding you. And there is a big part of me that will always have that in my space. I was discovered as the modern day psychic. I was named the modern day psychic by a big Canadian magazine, gosh, years and years ago now. And that really stuck with me. And I think that branding, that feeling of modernizing psychic development, making it really easy for people to understand will always be a part of what I do. And even comes into some of my bigger projects that I'm working on now. although it's not the focus of my space anymore, I think that that is still going to be an important element that carries me forever and is really important. And I was discovered, someone said to me, literally called me out of a crowd and said, "You are so crazy for not using your gifts." I feel like it's important to me to also help people better understand that, like, hey, if you also use your gifts, your life is going to change. And so that part of my work is actually very connected to numerology, because numerology is very intuitively led. There is a piece of numerology that you still need to figure out how it resonates with you, how the number lands for you, right? And so there is still this big piece that comes up around intuitive development. So I would say that I have a good balance between both, and that both come together so beautifully.
Yeah. With the intuitive development, because I think, I've been reflecting on this a lot over the past day since we had to reschedule, and just, surrendering into the flow. And I feel like so many people right now are like, I mean, we're kind of shifting tracks here, but there's so much happening in the world, and people are feeling lost and terrified of like the unknown.
Mhm.
How do they, if they're not already aware or they don't trust it, like how do they tap into those intuitive insights to like help guide them through this?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And I think what I always bring it back to as a very starting point is that a relationship with your intuition or a relationship with spirit is ultimately a relationship with yourself. And a lot of people try and do these external things, but we don't have this deep knowing and understanding of who we are. And so before anybody really starts to dive into the actual spiritual, like very psychic development stuff, I ask them, like, what is the relationship that you have with yourself? Do you show up for yourself? Do you commit to yourself? Like, how are you leading you? And so when I meet people and they're kind of early on in their psychic development, usually it's because they're having some sort of spiritual awakening and something's happening that's shifting them or bringing awareness to, my life needs to change. I can't keep going this way. And I always say, come back to the principle and the basics of, like, how are you nurturing yourself? Do you pour into yourself? Are you overgiving? Like, these things that we do that we don't always realize are having a really big impact on how we move and how we lead ourselves. So energy is everything, as you know. And when you start to really understand you, how you move, what you want, that's another big piece. Most people don't know what they actually want. They think they know, what's next, but they actually don't have any clarity or solid vision on, I'm calling this in. Like, this is a non-negotiable. And that's how it all started for me. Was going to LA was a non-negotiable. I was going to figure out a way to make it happen. And so from there was just a series of events. And I really believe that that's how the intuitive development really comes together, is that you have opportunities to deepen the relationship with yourself. And from there, beautiful things manifest because you have the awareness and you can start to trust yourself, right? Building your intuition is like building a muscle. And so when you start, you utilize your intuition, you trust it, you see what it does or teaches you, and then you start to build trust with that. And then that's how you nurture it. So it's a process. And a lot of people think that, psychic development is sitting in meditation or seeing if you guess the card right. Like all of these very like, I don't even know what word to use, like very old school ways to learn about psychic development, where I really focus on making it simple. Have a relationship with yourself, connect with source, and it can be easy.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that kind of shifted everything for me is, and you helped so much with that, is I have a very structured way of thinking about things, but it's also like I know that like I'm not meant to be structured, I'm meant to flow. So it's this weird dichotomy for me that I'm always battling. And I can catch on to things very easily in terms of like, okay, this is how you should be doing it. This is like how you should connect to spirit. And for my entire life, like I was doing that.
Mm.
And I don't remember if it was I listened to you on something or I just found you on Instagram. But you and I've also like last year found so many people that helped with my awakening, that helped me realize like, okay, that's how it should be done. But that doesn't feel good for you. It's not working. You're not connecting in the way that you want to. So how do we shift that? And when I started getting rid of all of the complications and just like focusing on what feels good to me and grounding down in that, it's like, holy shit. It happened so quickly, like everything coming in. And it's just, people don't realize that. And I don't want to say should, but they should. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that about the shoulds. I talk about that a lot in my space, as you know. It's like, I feel like there's a lot of this proving energy that a lot of the people in my world face and come like meet. Even I've been there before. And so I think that a lot of people put these shoulds on us, or society puts these shoulds on us. And the next layer of that is, when we're online, we get caught up in comparinitis. We look at other people. What are they doing? We try to follow everybody else's cookie cutter strategy. And the reality is that most of the time it doesn't work for you because it doesn't align with your codes, your energy, your way of being. And this is why when people come into my world, I personalize this through numerology because it's shown such great results. As you said, you start to really lean into what works for you and you utilize that instead of trying all of these other things that other people are doing. It might be working for them, but for you individually, there are ways that you can come into ease, that you can have things, be more abundant. And that all is in your numerology codes, which I'm just obsessed with, as you know.
I love them.
Love them.
Yes. It's like, I'm obsessed. I had a question, but it flew away.
I hate that. It'll come back.
Right. I am curious though about something.
Yeah.
So, okay. You are obviously creating a huge impact in the world. Like, your ripple effect is just ginormous. It's so inspiring to see and to witness. And like, side note, again, I am so grateful that you're on this podcast and that you're my first guest.
Yes.
Because I like just sitting in the background. I mean, you're 7, okay. And then also like human design, I'm a 4/6. So it's like I like being in the back and just watching people and watching them just light up in whatever it is that they're doing. And every time I see you show up, that's what you're doing.
Thank you.
So, what lights you up?
Such a good question. Kind of what you just said, to play on that, like when I see other people really embodying their truth, are really in alignment with who they are in their dreams, like they claim something and they go after it, that lights me up more than anything. And, so many people in my world say, Court, you work too hard. You're always working, but it's more like I'm out making impact. I do so many things within my work. I've helped people transition, literally gone into hospital, help people transition. I still do mediumship stuff. I help people restructure their business with numerology, like so many cool things that I am so grateful for that doesn't feel like work for me. And so when I see people really make a change, that lights me up. And to give another example of that, when I went back to school in 2016, I wanted to finish my social work to become a social worker. That was really important to me. And I loved going into, I know this is going to sound crazy, loved going into the jails, loved going in and working with my mental health patients. Like, I loved that. I love working with people who are committed in any capacity to being a better person. So there were so many times that I would go into the jail and I would be sitting with someone who did something awful. But that moment that they realized, they connected the dots that like, I get why I did it now and I'm ready to heal, even that lit me up. I would come home and I was so lit up. I'm like, I got through to them today. We're making progress. Like, we're doing the thing. And so even that's how it showed up in that capacity too, is like, I think for me, what really gets me excited is when it lands for someone, when they're like, I get it. I can go after the dream. There's nothing holding me back. I am so in control of my own life. I can create whatever I want. Like, that for me is so rooted in what lights me up and what is my soul purpose, truly.
1, I love all of this. 2, I love that you brought up like the social work, because I want to dive into that. I want to learn more. I know you're working on some really big things right now. Where it's like,
Mhm.
I don't even know what they are, but I know they're big. And it's like, girl, they're going to change the fucking world. Like, I love it. Um, but yeah, the social work and it's going into jails and everything. What have been some of the most difficult, I don't necessarily want to say clients, but like just experiences that you've had through this?
I think one of the biggest things that I have still struggled with throughout my career is having psychic insight and this knowing around what's going to happen and not being able to control it. Honestly, if I'm being transparent, that has been one of the things. So going back to when I was really focused on my social work practice and in the jails and all of that, I would see someone like the potential in someone, and then they would go and relapse, or they would go and like they would be out on parole and then I'd have to put them back in jail. And like that was so hard for me. And I've been able to use my gifts in really cool ways. There were so many times where people were lying right to my face, and I was like, no, we're drug testing you. Like, let's go. And one of the really cool things is that people aren't I don't know what if it's like that they're not afraid of me. I also wasn't afraid going into the jails. I was also not afraid of these types of clients, right? And they always felt really comfortable in opening up to me. So I feel like I held a lot. Like there was a lot of stuff that I would see and I would hear about really awful cases, and it was a process in not bringing those home because it was so heavy. I would read a case, like a case, and I would, oh my God, my stomach would drop, my empathic abilities would come out and I would feel it. And that was always challenging for me. But I think there was also a really like a lot of cool opportunities where it might have been hard for me to, catch someone in the process of committing a crime or whatever, because I had that insight from my gifts. But afterwards, it was always just so powerful to see like what I could do with what I know and what I knew at the time. So I think that that was always kind of a challenge for me, but I really love helping people. Like at my core, I love helping people. It's not transactional for me. If I can make an impact or make someone on the side of the road smile today, like that really brings me so much joy. And one of the things that people always say to me that I'm so grateful for is like it's like talking to a friend. There's a comfort that comes from being in my space and being in my world, and that is part of the ripple effect that you're talking about that I've been able to see, is that people refer me to other people, or people talk about my work, and people say, oh my God, you made an impact in even like, a parolee's life, and they've made changes. And I think that that ripple effect has been so big for me personally that I am excited about all of these bigger projects to come. I've been working on some TV stuff for quite some time that has been in the background manifesting. I personally have really big dreams, and I am going to see them through. You can bet that I am going to see them through. And this is where numerology has really helped me, because it's shown me that, hey, I've had to learn some things before I could hold the bigger thing. And I think that a lot of people get discouraged when it's not all playing out. But trust me, when you come back to numerology, when you come back to these important codes within your system, you can see that things really are happening for you. It just that you need to learn some bigger things so that you can hold the bigger dream.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that like I've struggled with for sure. And I think to your point, everybody does. It's
Mm-hmm.
the thing where we can see the vision and we know that it's coming, but we want it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you hold that vision and continue to trust in yourself that it is coming for you
Mm.
while staying present in the moment and just trusting that everything is going to unfold as it is meant to?
That's a really great question. And it's something I talk about often. The reward, even though we want this big dream, we want the outcome, the reward is actually in the creation process. Like that's actually what we're chasing. Like, because there's so many things that I've achieved or have, And then once I have it, I'm like, cool, on to the next. And I see that for a lot of people. Like once we have it, we normalize it so fast that it's like we're always chasing something else. And so I really like to bring people back to the actual process, because the process of learning how to do something with ease, the process in which we learn to deepen our own embodiment, like all of that stuff that needs to happen before we have the thing is actually what we're chasing. People think we're chasing the outcome, but we're not. We're chasing the process. And the process is where we get to have fun. It's where we get to learn. That's what's actually important, not the outcome. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think really helps me and the people that I work with kind of come back and trust the in between, because the dream will come. It's there. It's not going anywhere. If you can see it, it's because it's for you. I trust that so deeply that spirit wouldn't give you a vision or clarity around something unless it was for you and it was meant to happen. And so I like to bring people back to the actual process, even though that's frustrating sometimes. And it's helped me be more in the moment and even more excited when things come, because I'm like, I created that. I literally created that. I made that happen. And so that, I think, is what has brought me so much ease over the years while I've waited for the bigger things to manifest.
Mm-hmm. Question. And this is also like a personal one for me. So like, okay, when you see the big vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you trust that you can hold that and it's coming for you. And like, you're good, you're like in your highest self state, but then you notice an even bigger vision beyond that. How do you hold both?
Or like, question.
Not necessarily just both, but like multiples, right?
Yeah. I feel like personally, I always hold the biggest vision, the biggest thing that I can see. That's what I really hold space for, because again, all of these things are going to happen along the way. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm telling people to dream, like I want you to like think of the dream, and then I wanted you to go bigger. Like what's bigger than what you can think about? What's bigger than the book? What's bigger than the podcast? What's the biggest thing that you can even see possible? Even if you can't feel it in your body right now, you can't normalize it. Like, what is that thing? And so for me, I think that I've always held the vision for like the very end, if it makes sense, because I know that there are going to be multiple things along the way that light me up and get me excited and bring me to that end goal. So like I can see the last thing when I have fame, when like I'm on big stages, where like all of that, I focus on that. Because when the things happen in between, it feels like I can normalize it a little bit more. It's like, oh, that's okay. Okay, this is like the next step. But really, like, I think that that's what's kind of held me in this whole process, because my dreams are so big and I have seen me create it, even when every single person around me is like, that's not going to happen. Like, I remember being the 16-year-old girl and everyone's like, you're going to LA by yourself. Okay. Like I can just picture people's faces. But then when I signed the paperwork and like landed at a major talent agency, everybody around me was like, holy shit, she actually did it. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, of course I did it. Like, what do you mean? And so I feel like I just have kind of adapted that process now, where like I hold the vision, I talk about it. I normalize the biggest vision. Like I normalize the biggest thing. It's like, I talk about it like it's already in motion. Like I'm actively creating this already. It's not separate from me. I'm actively creating it. And that's really what keeps me centered.
I love that. What about when you have multiple things, like, and you've got like multiple cups, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you juggle all of those?
Well, I think that this is where numerology has been really supportive for me. I'll use, for example, the magazine. I know that I haven't talked a lot about it in recent months because I put that on hold. That was one of the other cups that I was holding. That was one of the other places that I was pouring into. And it wasn't that it was taking time away from what I was doing in other spaces. I just realized that I wasn't as focused as I wanted to be on that cup. And so I decided to go on hiatus, and we've been put on hold. It doesn't mean that it's not going to come back, but in this personal year 2 that I'm in, that doesn't feel aligned for me. Next year, in my year 3, when I'm in a year that's focused on self-expression, creativity, you better bet that magazine is coming back, right? But right now, I have been so aligned with my numbers. Right now, my numbers are saying focus on partnerships, different collaborations. It's what I've been doing. I'm on podcasts all of the time. I'm working on interviews. Like, I'm literally aligning with my energy. And I think that that's really helped me with productivity and being focused on where to put my energy. It doesn't mean that I can't have all the cups. It's just shown me what I can focus on right now and what's most strategic for me. And that's really, truly helped me in this process.
I love that. Especially because, like, it's from an outsider's point of view, but also someone who's going through it myself and like recognizing all of it now. It's just so fascinating to see how knowing where you are in that cycle and then also what's coming, like, at least I think for me, like, I have all of these things that I want to do and that I know are coming, but this past month especially, I've been like, I need to do them all and I need to do them all right now. But reflecting then on where I am in the cycle has definitely helped me realize, okay, I can focus on just these couple right here, right now, because in getting those going and solid and like all the things, that is what's going to bring in all of these other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And you're in a month 3, right? When we're recording this May, this is a month 3 for you. So that is literally, again, exactly where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to have the ideas. You're supposed to be super creative and playing in all of the potentiality, but you don't have any structure behind it. That's coming next month. So I want you to be in a space right now where you're like, I could do this and I could do this and I could express this and I could do this. But next month is when you're going to start to say, okay, like, let's anchor down. Let's really put some of the systems in place and put this into motion. And so again, using numbers, we can see that like that was supposed to happen this month. You were supposed to have a million ideas. You were supposed to be creative as heck. You were supposed to be inspired by your life and everything around you. And from that place, if we do the work within the number that we're in within our cycle, if we do that work, it compounds. And the next number that we're working with, it's just like, it becomes so much easier because we're aligned. If we work against the numbers, if you were to this month be so focused on systems and putting things into place, things wouldn't be working out the way that they are. It would have slowed you down. And so you really are so on point with where you need to be right now. And I know that that is going to have a ripple effect in the months to come as you execute all of these great ideas that you have.
I love it.
I love this.
Like, I love learning about all of these modalities and these tools. Like, yes, bringing them all in. It's fun.
So good.
So as I know we're like starting to get towards the end, one of the things that came up in my mind when we were talking about social work was the concept of judgment.
Mm.
And I feel like that is something that people definitely need to reflect on right now because there's so many changes happening, like with individuals and then with society.
Yep.
So, one, do you catch yourself judging yourself or others or like whatever? And two, when you do, how do you transcend that?
Yeah. So there's 2 parts to that, I think. One of my gifts, and this is why I think I went into social work. One of my gifts has always been that I am probably the like least judgmental person you'll ever meet. I could sit across from like a murderer and have a heart to heart with them and not look at them as a murderer, but like look at them at soul level. Like, who are you? And so I think that's been one of my gifts that I've always had. And people in my life close to me have always said, like, oh, you're going into scary situations, or, like you're working with a population that's a little edgy. And it's like, but I can hold space for them. I am the perfect person to hold space for them. And so I think that actually been one of my greatest gifts. And I don't take that for granted. I love that. Now, I am human and I do, it does come up for me sometimes, but I'm really grateful that I have the awareness that I have. I am so deeply self-aware that when something comes up, and I'll give you an example in a second, when something comes up, I move through it very fast. I look at it, I'm like, what is this mirroring back to me? What is this showing me? Is there something that I'm missing in my own world? Is there something that I'm judging myself for? So I really always try to use that as a mirror to reflect back to me something that I'm not clearly seeing about myself. So, for example, I'm in a personal year 2 right now, and a big part of the year 2 is relationship healing. It's more specifically looking at different dynamics in your life. And I have noticed, even over the last couple of weeks, that there have been a lot of relationships, like people in my life that have mirrored back to me different qualities or different values that might have been changing for me. Like, this person doesn't give as much of an energetic exchange as I do. Like, I feel like I'm showing up more. So I feel like there's been some judgment that's come up. Like, why is this person not showing up as much as I do, for example? And so reflecting back to myself, I'm like, I need to clean up my boundaries a little bit because I overgive. I'm always available. So that's how I alchemized and transmuted that whole thing that was coming up for me. It's like I can be there for people. And I had to let go of the judgment that, people have their own stuff in their world going on. They can't always respond, yada, yada. But for a hot minute, I was like, oh my God, people aren't responding to me. I'm not hearing back from my friends. What are my friends doing? And that again is very personal year 2 energy. So I'm really coming back to, okay, it wants me to clean this up. And the last time I was in my personal year 2, which was 2015, I was starting my social work and I felt that way. I felt like I wasn't, there was presentations and stuff, and I was like in a weird place in my life where I'm like not connecting with some of my classmates. I felt very different because I was intuitive, and it's bringing it up so that I can really make sure that it's cleaned up. And that's the purpose of our cycles, right? When we look back to the last time we were in our cycle, there are so many clues and so much information in there about what we're needing to heal now, or what we need to make sure that we took care of and let go of so that we can keep moving. And so anytime that this has been coming up the last couple of weeks, it's because I've been here before, and Spirit wants to make sure that hey, you've got this under wraps, because if you're going on to bigger things, you're going to work back in the entertainment industry, et cetera, you have to make sure that you can hold that. And so there are always reasons why we have to clean up these things before we get on to the bigger thing, always.
Part of me is like, that is the perfect ending. That's the perfect. Yeah.
So good. This was so good. So good.
Right? I'm like, okay, I have more things I'm curious about, but I'm like, that's for another time. That's another conversation.
We could do this again. For sure. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I have chills with what you just said and everything. It's just, yes. Girl, I love you.
I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you started this podcast and you're going to reach so many people. You're going to have such a beautiful ripple effect with who you touch in this community, in this space. And I'm deeply so excited for you. You are so aligned. You're starting this in your month 3. It could not be more on point. So I just want to say, hats off to you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for what you create and all of the lives that you impact through this podcast.
Thank you so much. I love it. All right. Before we officially end, where can people find you? How can they work with you?
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I have a brand new program coming out in 2 weeks. It's called the Legend Code, and I'm super excited.
Ooh.
It actually deepens the work around numerology to teach you how to use daily energy, which I'm so excited about talking about. The strategy behind what to focus on every single day in your business and life. And then I have the 9 phases of you, which takes you through the framework. Emily's in that course. She actually took herself through this program, and it's really great to teach you about the numbers, what you need to know. Once you learn the numbers 1 to 9, what they mean, you can use them literally anywhere, and it is life-changing. So absolutely, you can find all of this information on thecourtneytaylor.com. And I am just so excited to see what people do with numerology.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation on the glass box. If you'd like to reach out to either Courtney or myself, you can find our contact information in the show notes. And I will catch you next time. Bye.